A man was on the phone when Harry suddenly teleported in and took him away. Since both sides fully exposed themselves, Macy and they went into hiding. Meanwhile, Julian posted a $1 million reward online, passionately pleading for Macy's disappearance. He knew Macy could see Julian's actions showing them his determination. Macy decided to use forbidden magic, but Harry reminded her it's forbidden by the elders. But when have the saints ever followed the rules? This forbidden potion can implant an idea into someone's mind and spread to anyone they touch. Then, with Julian's whole team infected upon contact, they would abandon stealing magic. But to achieve this, they first need to find Julian. Perhaps the people upstairs can help. Harry warned her to be careful. That guy is dangerous. Cut to Mel questioning the Dark Fire user's whereabouts, but the trapped Dark Fire user clearly didn't want to cooperate. Mel threatened to imprison him back in a bottle, and Dark Fire finally compromised. Instead of being fixated on his plan for the next move, they should think about why Julian would do this. When it came to the crucial point, Dark Fire stopped talking. Both were frustrated with the slippery old fox in front of them. Unless they let him go, he probably wouldn't tell the truth. Maggie managed to calm the situation down. Meanwhile, downstairs, Macy discovered in the magic book that making the forbidden potion requires a siren's tongue, freshly cut. A tongue from a Greek mythological sea monster, something they definitely don't have. However, Harry said it could be bought. Only the legendary magic black market has siren tongues. As they discussed this magical place, a poisonous snake dropped down. Macy caught it and casually tossed it away. The owner finally appeared, and they explained their purpose, presenting their chips. Surprisingly, the old man, acting as a mediator, demanded a service fee. Harry immediately asked if he wanted their souls or possession of their bodies for a day. The old man looked disgusted. They had already exchanged clothes. This was the service fee he wanted. Macy stifled a laugh nearby. The old man led them to a shop, expecting to get the tongue, but this old codger actually ran off. Was he trying to freeload? He even took the necklace. Back at home, the two sisters had a heated discussion. It seemed they'd have to show Dark Fire something real to get clues out of him. Meanwhile, Macy and the others finally found the old man who had run away. He said magic couldn't be used here. Macy knocked him out with a punch, shocking the old man with her strength. Back home, the two sisters convinced Dark Fire. Maggie promised to release him, but he had to help them deal with Julian. Otherwise, he'd be a threat to everyone. Reluctantly, Dark Fire agreed to help. By this time, Macy was already back home with the siren tongue, and the forbidden potion was complete. Maggie brought information from Dark Fire's confession. They finally knew it all started with Julian's sister, the Sleeping Beauty. Following Dark Fire's clues, Harry took advantage and abducted Julian. Julian was astonished at the barrier formed by the imprisonment spell before him. Macy tried to convince him to give up this terrible opportunity, but he insisted that Black Amber had improved his sister. But as a saint, Macy knew Black Amber didn't have that effect. What did Julian really see? They got Julian's whereabouts from Dark Fire and brought him over. Macy also learned from Julian that Vivienne used Black Amber to awaken his sister. Everyone was shocked. Black Amber couldn't heal mortals. At best, it resurrects corpses into monsters. Macy thought proving Black Amber ineffective might make Julian give up on stealing magic. This seemed more reliable than the forbidden potion. As a forbidden magic, there are too many uncertainties. The two immediately teleported to Julian's sister's hospital room, where she suspected Vivienne had used some drug to create the illusion of awakening. The truth would be revealed with a quick test, and the surveillance camera on the wall clearly captured the two unexpected visitors. Vivienne, who was at the base, immediately planned to rush back. Meanwhile, Mel was about to fulfill her promise to release Dark Fire. She had also thoughtfully prepared a forbidden potion. Dark Fire could use it to change his perspective on himself and the world, then live freely under the open sky. As the spell ended, the restraining curse was lifted. Dark Fire cautiously touched himself. He was free. The expected conflict didn't happen. Dark Fire grabbed the potion and drank it in one gulp. Meanwhile, Vivienne rushed back, determined to capture them alive. In the hospital room, the two were still waiting for the test results, but they finally sensed the danger. Harry immediately wanted to leave, knowing the opponent's guns were loaded with magic-suppressing poison, but Macy didn't want to give up. The truth was about to be revealed, and she couldn't walk away. As the progress bar slowly climbed, Vivienne and her team got closer. Just a little more to go when the people outside burst in. Back home, Macy brought the test results to Julian. It was indeed a drug-induced illusion. Julian was devastated. He had believed his whole life that magical beings were the enemy, only to find out that his own aunt had been using and deceiving him for years. Macy seized the opportunity to turn him against her. Meanwhile, Darkfire woke up on the street after drinking the forbidden potion. He told a cop that he was a good person, and because of the potion, the cop believed him. Meanwhile, Vivienne returned to the base, where the research team handed her a box. She opened it, and a mysterious light shone out. The thing she had been waiting for was finally complete. This time, she would completely steal and control magic. Maggie, with her ability to foresee the future, felt uneasy. She took the parts from the pod where Harry had been imprisoned and began to foresee countless possible futures. She even saw the three saints defeated, and more importantly, a pair of dead eyes. The three, feeling uneasy, immediately sought out the Guardian, who warned that the three saints would ultimately be destroyed by their own powers. Maggie was worried it might be today. The Guardian appeared and walked slowly toward them. She dismissed Maggie's concerns but sensed that humans had already gained access to magic. If humans touched the sacred tree, something terrible would happen. The sacred tree would wither, and a dark age would descend. Mel mentioned that the Elder's book recorded a spell. This spell is incredibly powerful and could be used to seal off the space to protect the sacred tree and ensure its safety. But the reason this spell is so powerful is because it's permanent. Once sealed, it could never be undone. The Guardian would no longer be able to guide them, and the sacred tree would be sealed forever. Black Amber would no longer provide the command center's functions. The control panel and portal in the command center would fail, and they would no longer be able to use the portal to rescue endangered witches. At this time, Vivienne was negotiating a deal with investors, who clearly didn't believe in her research. Vivienne finally revealed her creation, a magic hand, capable of absorbing, storing, and using magic. She immediately activated the magic hand, and the energy within it was injected into her body. She now possessed magic, but after scaring the investors, she quickly put the magic hand away. The energy was limited, and she needed to use it sparingly. But after tonight, she would have enough Black Amber, and her assistant was visibly shocked. Meanwhile, Macy received a call from Julian, but on the screen, it was the female assistant. It turned out to be Julian. Harry had previously found the assistant and copied her aura, and Julian used a spell to transform into her. He explained to Macy what he had just discovered and informed her of his aunt's plan for the night. They realized the sacred tree was in danger, and Macy immediately wanted to go destroy the magic hand. But after the last commotion at the base, they had installed weapons that could prevent any magical beings from entering. He would find a way to steal the magic hand, but Harry clearly didn't trust him and decided to go himself. On the other side, Julian immediately opened the safe, but it was empty. Vivienne emerged with the magic hand, and everything was spiraling in the wrong direction. Seeing his aunt consumed by ambition, Julian tried to appeal to her. They were searching for magic to benefit humanity, not for personal gain. But Vivienne, who had been using him all along, refused to listen. Julian declared he would shut down the project, but Vivienne rejected his decision. This ruthless woman finally turned against her own nephew. Meanwhile, Harry arrived outside the base and lightly touched the surroundings, confirming that a barrier had been set up. With this barrier in place, magical beings couldn't get through. Fortunately, Mel found a spell in the Elder's book that could reverse the flow, turning the barrier back so they could get in. The three immediately began casting the spell. As the incantation was recited, a beam of light gathered and shot into the sky, crossing the horizon and striking the barrier. The barrier surrounding the base instantly collapsed. Harry took the opportunity to slip inside, unexpectedly finding himself in the control room, but he was shocked by what he saw. All the imprisoned magical beings were dead, drained of their magic by Vivienne. If that's the case, then Vivienne must be incredibly powerful now. Macy urged him to leave immediately, but Harry clearly didn't want to miss this chance. Worried, Macy prepared to rush in, but the spell had ended, and she couldn't get through. The three attempted the spell again to reverse the flow, allowing Macy to go in for the rescue. The other two struggled to maintain the massive spell. Originally, it was meant to be cast by three. Mel's magic backfired, burning her from the inside, and she collapsed to the ground. Now it was just Maggie holding on. Inside the base, Macy found Julian, but he had already turned to stone up to his head. The alarm sounded, and Macy decided to face Vivienne head-on and take back the magic hand, while Harry stayed behind to treat Julian. But before he could act, the poor man's pupils changed color, and he died abruptly. Maggie's premonition of someone's death had come true. It was him. Meanwhile, Macy encountered Vivienne in the hallway. Before she could react, Vivienne teleported and restrained her. Macy's memories were being extracted, revealing everything: how to enter the command center, how to find the sacred tree. Everything was exposed. There was no time to mourn for Julian, as Maggie could no longer hold on, and the security team was closing in. The two returned to the command center just in time to save a weakened Mel, but before they could catch their breath, the control panel alarmed. Vivienne had arrived, and the three immediately began casting the spell to permanently seal the sacred tree's space. But before the spell could be completed, Vivienne burst through the door, releasing a powerful energy that sent everyone flying. The group was knocked unconscious, and Vivienne stood excitedly in front of the sacred tree. She had finally found it. She plunged the magic hand into the black amber, greedily absorbing its magical essence. Just a drop of this stuff could restore a saint's power, and there was a whole pool of it here. The group outside started waking up one by one, but it was too late. A now empowered Vivienne, infused with the combined magic of all magical beings and the black amber, was completely invincible. Even the combined power of the three saints couldn't stop her, as the energy was absorbed by her. Maggie suggested increasing the output. Sure enough, Vivienne, having absorbed so much magic, began to overload. Cracks started appearing on her body. After all, a mortal body has its limits, but it was too late for her to stop. And in the end, she was torn apart by the overwhelming power. She paid the ultimate price for her greed. Due to the desecration by a mortal, the sacred tree began to wither, and the magical world was rapidly dying. But this was just the beginning.